Welcome back, and thank you for joining us for module number 2. Here we're going to take a little bit closer look at the present levels of performance. But before we do, it might be helpful if we take just a few minutes to review what we've learned in module 1.
First of all, I want to make the point that good IEP development, standards-based IEPs are good IEPs, and it's a planning process. We take data from our planning process and then we fill out the piece of paper. So it's process that drives the form, not the form that drives the process. It's an annual plan and it guides the instruction that's going to occur for the student. It's kind of like using a GPS. First of all, you have to know where you want to go. Then you put in some good data about where you currently are, and it creates a map for us. And that IEP is the map. As you go along throughout the year, there are new opportunities that arise. You come across new data. You might have to make some adjustments. When you arrive at your first goal, which is the end of the first year, you choose a new goal, and you put in new data, and you start over. It is, for the IEP, starting with the desired outcome, doing a good job with present levels of performance, which is what we're going to be talking about in this module, and then writing goals, selecting instructional services or programs, and then implementing and monitoring progress. Standards drive the IEP because they provide instructional accountability. They set the expectation for all students, including students with disabilities, of what is expected for students to learn in order for them to meet certain criteria like graduation. When we base our IEPs on the standards, it supports instruction in the least restrictive environment because it's based on what all students are expected to know and what is being taught in the general curriculum. So it supports meaningful access to the general curriculum, access that allows students to understand what's happening in the general curriculum. And it creates a structure for linking the IEPs to the general curriculum. Standards-based IEPs are essential for achieving educational benefit for students with disabilities because in our environment, in our school system, educational benefit is determined by the ability to meet certain criteria and then ultimately get a diploma that has meaning. Standards-driven IEPs promote a single system of education instead of two separate systems, common language, common set of expectations. It encourages, or I should say they, encourage greater consistency from school district to school district, from school to school. And finally, another reason for doing standards-based IEPs is it's really best for all kids. It assumes more, not less. It sets those standards high. So what does it really mean to connect IEPs to standards? Well, it means that we refer to the standards to determine first and foremost what is expected at a certain grade level, the grade level that the student is in. We use the standards to guide what is important for the student to learn and be able to do if that student is going to be able to be successful in the general curriculum. So it's about conducting an analysis, looking at what is expected in a certain grade level. That's our content standards and the curriculum that is based on those content standards, and then comparing it with the student's current skills and knowledge. It's that gap between the expectation and the current skills and knowledge that defines the educational need for this student. In the special education world and in IDEA, there is no reference to standards-based IEPs as such. Instead, there is a requirement that the IEP is to be written in a way that allows access to the general education curriculum. So we really talk about the general education curriculum within IDEA more than standards, but since the curriculum is based on the standards, we need to know what those standards are. One definition for general education curriculum is that it is the full range of courses, activities, lessons, and materials that routinely are used by the general population or within that general classroom. And what do we mean by access? We mean having the ability to meaningfully participate in the knowledge and skills that make up the general education curriculum. That is very fundamental to why standards-based IEPs are so important. Now, in order to get ready for the rest of this module, you'll need to have some documents available for you. So this is a good time to stop and download those documents. Make sure that you have them available. You can see on the PowerPoint screen the list of documents that you'll need. So pause, take some time to make sure you have the documents, and when you come back, we'll get ready and get right into present levels of performance.